been called to order in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. Notice of this meeting was provided to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Highland Park Planet on January 4th, 2023, and was posted on Borough Hall website at www.hbborough.com and on the bulletin board, Borough Hall, 221 South Fifth Avenue in Highland Park, New Jersey, and has remained continuously posted as required by law. In addition, notice of this meeting via Zoom was emailed to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Highland Park Planet on May 12, 2023, and was posted on Borough Hall website at www.hbborough.com and on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, 221 South Fifth Avenue, and has been remained continuously posted as required by law. Fire exits are to my right and left of the council chambers. Harry, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Foster.
Here.
Councilwoman Canavera. Councilman George.
Here.
Councilman Hale.
Here.
Council President Hirsch.
Here.
Councilwoman Kim Chohan. Here. Councilman Pistonik.
Here.
Borough Attorney Schmier.
Here.
Borough Administrator Hoover.
Here. Any questions on the agenda by council members?
No, Mayor.
Okay. Before we get into our agenda, I just want to take a moment and ask everyone for a moment of silence for the targeted attack in Israel this past Saturday. Thank you. I also want to say before we get started that yesterday afternoon, I was pleased to conduct a community visual to support the people of Israel who were struck by this ungodly act of terror during their holiday on Saturday. We held this community visual by the flagpole in the parking lot of the Highland Park Community Center and was pleased to see that the parking lot was filled with residents who were very grateful for the opportunity to gather and hear words and prayers of comfort. This non-political event featured a moment of silence for the victim of terror, a recitation of chapters from Psalms led by congregational rabbi, a prayer for the welfare of the people of Israel, and a recitation of the Star-Spangled Banner and the Hatitkah, led by students from RPRY in Edison. I was pleased to see my council colleagues, Council President Hirsch, Council Member Hale, Council Member Phil George, and Council Member Jason Polsonek, who came out to support this event, which was received very favorably and was covered by the TAP New Brunswick, an online newsletter. Now, I'm going to move into awards and presentation, and we have a presentation tonight for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October 2023, and I will read and then I'll do the presentation. Whereas October is promoted as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month by the National Breast Cancer Foundation and the Susan G. Komen Organization. This annual focal point of awareness and advocacy has a 40-year history. And whereas President Joe Biden noted in a proclamation for this occasion issued on September 29th, nearly 300,000 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year. 1 in 8 women in America will be diagnosed with the disease and their family. And whereas, as Minnesota Governor Tim Walz noted in the proclamation for this occasion, American Indian and Black women have the highest mortality rate for breast cancer, followed by white women. And Black women are often diagnosed later, at a later stage, when treatments are limited or costly, and the prognosis is poor. And whereas the American Cancer Society continues to advise women to get annual breast mammogram screening once they reach the age of 40, and whereas the Borough of Highland Park is proud to highlight the work of the Dance for the Cure organization, which is a national charity whose mission is financially assisted by women impacted by breast cancer in Somerset, Hunterdon, and Middlesex counties. The organization will hold its Ribbon of Hope 2023 event on October 19th at the Bridgewater Marriott and welcome public support. To make a contribution to this organization, please go to the website at www.danceforthecure.org. And whereas the Borough of Highland Park stands in solidarity with the mothers, daughters, sisters, friends, neighbors, and others who are battling this disease. Now, therefore, I, Elsie Foster, Mayor of the Borough of Highland Park, New Jersey, do hereby proclaim October 23rd to be Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Highland Park and urge residents to join in spreading the awareness and advocating for research for the cure. And at this time, and it says, witness therefore until my hand on October 2023. And I'm going to ask the two ladies to come up and I'll present the proclamation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Now we move to approval of minutes. Approval of minutes as distributed September 5th, 2023. Roll call.
Motion.
A motion.
So moved. Approved. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman George,
Yes.
Councilman Hill,
Yes.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilman Pistonik.
Yes.
Council report. Councilwoman Kim Cho Han.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to report the Rent Control Board had their first meeting on September 27th. It was a great first meeting and kickoff. The next meeting is scheduled for October 25th at 5:30 in Council Chambers. We still have 2 alternate positions open, one for tenant and one for owner occupied. We received our 2022 municipal audit results, and I'm happy to report it is a clean audit with no recommendations. Thanks to the finance department, we appreciate your hard work. And tonight on the agenda is a resolution authorizing my maternity leave of absence. I'm grateful to my colleagues for understanding this amazing but crucial time for myself, family, and I'm out of breath reading that, sorry. and unique needs of a newborn. During the period when I am taking family leave, second chair of Finance Council member Paulson-Nick will serve as chair of finance, and I have the utmost confidence that the work of the finance committee will continue uninterrupted. I will be checking my emails once a week, and I look forward to returning to my full duties with a renewed perspective after this period of leave. Lastly, my thoughts and prayers are with the people of Israel and our residents with relatives and close friends in Israel. You have an ally in me, and I stand with you. And that's right.
You hope that you will be checking your email.
Well,
Once that baby
well,
comes, it's different.
Once a week between nighttime feeds.
So says the young mommy to be. Councilmember Hale.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's a lot of things going on in Highland Park and specifically with Main Street. And I just wanted to thank Main Street Highland Park and Rebecca Hirsch for all that they do for Highland Park in all of these events. So at the farmer's market this Friday, there's an apple pie contest. If you have a great apple pie recipe and want to compete for fabulous prizes, which I have no idea what they are, go to the Main Street website and sign up to enter. Submissions can be brought to the farmer's market between 1:30 and 2:30. They will be eaten promptly afterwards. So please make sure to meet those deadlines. Also this weekend is the magnificent townwide garage sale. Takes place Saturday and Sunday all over town. And it is not just enough this year to have just a garage sale. We are also going to have garage bands. They're going to play downtown at the Walkowitz Pavilion. And so you can shop till you drop, and then you should come and rock till you drop. So the bands that are coming are Zero for Comfort, which contrary to popular belief is not the remaking of Five for Fighting, which is a band that I grew up with. But Zero for Conduct, BOG Imp, Log Imp, and Heathmonger, which sound like really cool bands to me. But I'm clearly not hip enough for any of those. The Taco Time Machine will be out slinging tacos, and Rack on Tour, the bookmobile, will be out there slinging books. So come on out for the garage sale this weekend. It's a great event. A lot of things are coming up for Halloween. There is a pumpkin painting and live music with the Mike Norsey Trio Friday, October 27th from 2:30 to 5:30. There's a free trick-or-treat tote bag available at the Main Street offices at 212 Raritan Ave. Then there is a lot of businesses are going to be trick-or-treating on Tuesday, October 31st from 2:30 to 5:30 at their stores. So come on down and get some candy for your kids and do some downtown shopping. There will also be a jack-o'-lantern contest. There's a form for filling out at the mainstreet.org website to enter the contest and learn more. Again, that's on the 31st. So lots of great events coming out for Main Street and for downtown Highland Park. I encourage everybody to go out and make sure you're shopping at our local businesses as we get into the holiday season. It's a really important, crucial time for many of our businesses. So I'm going to end my report with another thank you note, and it's kind of a big one. I just wanted to say thank you to Mayor Foster for her recent efforts to bring our community together in response to the horrific events going on in Israel. She talked a little bit about the specific vigil that she convened and put together, and she brought our local rabbis and synagogue leaders to a beautiful, meaningful prayer vigil on Monday. And she coordinated the efforts of all of that. And in addition, and she won't tell you this, but I will, Elsie went to synagogues over the weekend when many were in shuls celebrating Simchat Torah and Shmini Atzeret to talk to people about the borough's response. And she did this just to go and say, this is what we're doing, this is what we're about. And I can't tell you how much that meant and how many people have told me how much that meant, that she would give up her day of rest to come and do that for the Jewish community. It was a tremendously appreciated effort on her part. There aren't really any words to describe the situation in Israel right now. But please know that many in the Jewish community, and I clearly don't speak for all of them or the whole of them, but we might physically say, we might physically be okay. And we might even say that we're okay, but we're not. We're scared of our friends and families who live there. We're terrified for our sons and daughters who are being called up or back into the IDF for service. We're dreading the videos and pictures that will come of people being killed. And we're waiting for inevitable what ifs and what abouts and false equivalences that will come. In short, we're not okay right now. But we will be. And we will be in part because of efforts of people like Elsie, who stood with us at this difficult time and stood with us, next to us, and together at this difficult time. That's what we need right now. And I just really, really wanted to say thank you to Elsie for delivering that. Thank you so much.
It's a difficult time for us all. Councilmember George.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd also like to thank you, Mayor. The vigil was most appropriate. There were no speech making. It was all in Hebrew and also in English. The Psalms that hope for peace, that people hope for safety in a very perilous and terrible time. And it's just, as we've discussed at home, and I discussed with a number of the rabbis, that part of the world doesn't burst into flames even worse. That being said, with regard to the library, tonight we have two resolution and an ordinance related to the library. The building renovation team determined on the advice of the architect and a roofing contractor to expand the repairs to the roofing system. It's almost it is a meeting reported every meeting about the roofing repair system. I spoke briefly with the executive director. The dog houses, those roof structures that look like dormers where the HVAC system enters the building are going to be reconstructed. And basically, if there's any more details, Ms. O'Leary can fill in, but basically it involves a change in the financing structure. To simply understand it, we'll be canceling the $215,000 capital expenditure and instead putting in a bond ordinance for $400,000. We don't anticipate that all of that would be used, but it makes the financing a lot easier for the expansion of the project. So those are the two pieces of ongoing. However, the temporary relocation is still doing very, very well. Circulation and electronic lending are up. The residents are using both the physical and electronic lending, and the staff is busy fulfilling needs of the residents at the library. And it was a little bit bumpy transition, but not for very long, and it is working extremely well. On the police department, the trunk or treat is being held on Monday, October 30th at the community center, thanks to the police department. It starts at 6 p.m. And more details can be found on the HPPD website or by emailing Detective O'Mara at bomara@hpborough.com. The chief has advised me today that there have been more car break-ins over the weekend. Unfortunately, most were because of the car being left unlocked. Please remember to lock your vehicles, your garages, your sheds, and your doors for safety reasons. And most important, please don't leave your key fobs in the car. Anybody can grab the handle, open start the car, and drive away. So please be warned and be wise. The Highland Park Police Department wants everybody to know that they will be starting to issue warnings for street sweeping days, as the borough is going to be increasing our street sweeping efforts. We'll be issuing warnings in the areas for street sweeping, and I'll try to have the schedule on the streets where street sweeping will be done posted on the borough and police department websites in the next couple of days. After a brief period of warnings, tickets will be issued, so please note the street signs on the designated side streets in the commercial districts. The public safety, as a just general note, the Public Safety Committee held its monthly meeting today. Some items discussed were how to restrict turns off Woodbridge Avenue onto Route 27 heading east for tractor trailers who are barely able to make that turn on the best of days with the best of drivers. And it can cause a major problem at many times, including the headless doughboy, as we all know. We will try to reach out to Google to see if they can mark this on Google Maps and also look into the possibility of restricting that turn by ordinance in partnership with the county and NJOT. Public safety also discussed improvements to our commercial on-street overnight parking, which will take some discussion before the topic is ready for consideration of any changes by Borough Council. Several locations have already been approved by the county for no parking anytime, especially in front of Irving School, to keep that zone safe for vision for families leaving with their children after school, and how much, if any, to expand any sort of parking solution. And just finally, the towing rate increase will be on a future agenda, as the towers have requested that we come into line with the state's fee schedule. So those are items for future reference. And I thank Councilwoman Canavera and Councilman Hill for participating with us in the meeting to look at some of those longer term decisions. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Poston.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to start off with a quick reminder that the borough offers grocery store transportation and online food shopping assistance that's available through the Department of Community Services. For more information, please reach out to the staff at the Community Center at 732-819-0052. And just to recap a couple of recent, very successful events. The Historical Commission about 2 weeks ago had put on their presentation on the history of the development of Highland Park's downtown. I just wanted to thank everyone from the Historical Commission for their hard work. It was really successful. We had really tremendous turnout, and we look forward to future programming. Also, just wanted to thank Highland Park Chinese Association and, who put together the Mid-Autumn Festival, which was an incredible event with, again, tremendous turnout. And just also want to express thanks to Human Relations and Prince Commission who helped sponsor this event, and we hope that this will become an annual event. Moving on to some community center programming highlights. Today was a busy day at the community center. There's a flu clinic this morning. Over 40 people got their flu shot. There will be more clinics to be announced. Again, this is a reminder because I still haven't done it since the last time I gave an update on the flu clinic. I still need to get mine myself. There was also a blood drive later in the day today. 30 donors had contributed. Thanks. Next up, there's a health education series that starts off this Wednesday. There'll be 6 program sessions from 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. The program will help promote, support, and sustain older adults living healthier and more independent lives. This Sunday, October 15th at 2 p.m., the Genesis Brass Quintet will be putting on a concert at the community center, and it's free and open to all. A little later down the month, on Sunday, October 22nd, the community center will be hosting the annual Halloween costume parade and festival, and that will be right here at the community center from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And right here, I mean, right across from Borough Hall. And then last in community center programming, had the October senior luncheon, which will be on Tuesday, October 24th at 12 p.m. at the community center. Lunch will be provided by Zia Lisa, and entertainment will be provided by Flavian, who will be putting on a mind reading game show. Next, just one brief update from Project Community Arts Commission. They're hosting, or they're sponsoring a scarecrow contest. So please keep an eye out about town for some creative scarecrows. And then lastly, I just wanted to join my colleagues in expressing my deep, sincere thanks to you, Mayor, for organizing and putting together yesterday's vigil. It really meant a lot to a lot of us. And just to reiterate the same sentiment that there are a number of people in town with family and friends in Israel. And just want you to know that our thoughts and hearts are with you. And hope everyone stays safe. Thanks again, Mayor. That's my.
Thank you. Council President Hirsch.
We're all feeling
Yeah.
a little bit up in the air today. Thank you, Mayor. I have some information, so get your pens out. My name is Matthew Hirsch. I chair the Public Safety Committee, the Public Works Committee. Excuse me, Councilman George. So our brains are not in full form today. The Public Works Committee, and just a few things that tonight on the agenda. You'll see that we are going to introduce and vote on a resolution to implement a to start a community solar program here in Highland Park. This is the first step toward the development and management of permanent community solar energy program. And this initiative will benefit Highland Park residents and the environment. Community Solar, a program that was developed by the state as a pilot program in 2018 through the Board of Public Utilities, allows residents to receive the benefits of solar energy, which were previously unattainable for customers who rent or own homes that are not conducive to solar energy. The firm that's being considered on this resolution is at no cost to the borough and will manage the solar RFP process to select a solar energy provider and citing any associated solar project to provide low-cost solar power on a long-term basis to the borough's utility customers, including potentially 100% of the borough's low and moderate income households. This is really exciting news because while community solar is an amazing program and is available to all utility payers in New Jersey, usually by participating in an available community solar operation nearby. For example, there is a Piscataway, there's a solar farm managed by Solar Landscape, and they reach some Highland Park customers. But by developing our own solar infrastructure here in town, we can provide automatically 100% coverage for our LMI community, which is really important because it wouldn't be an opt-in. It would actually have to be physically an opt-out, so people would just immediately get enrolled through PSE&Gs, through your same bill, same service provider, nothing changes, but you're involved in this community solar program, which can provide not only the environmental benefits, but also the rate paying benefits. So really good news. A lot of work to do, and many thanks to Terry Aubert for shepherding through this process. And if there are any questions, please reach out, and there will be more information forthcoming. Garbage collection. The borough was closed in observance of Indigenous Peoples Day yesterday, and this changed our garbage collection schedule. Obviously, Monday, yesterday, there was no recycling or garbage collection. Today, there was garbage collection in the Business District, North Side and Triangle recycling. Tomorrow, there will be garbage collection in the Business District and North Side and Triangle. Thursday, recycling as usual on the South Side. And on Friday, South Side garbage collection, and as well as in the Business District. Councilman Hale mentioned the townwide garage sales, which is the most wonderful time of the year. I would just give a plug to Felton Avenue garage sales, the Champs-Elysees of townwide garage sales. Find all of your shopping needs right there. But in addition, though, bulk waste collection will be planned for the week after the townwide garage sale. That's Tuesday, October 17th and Thursday, October 19th. Remember, there will be bulk pickup on Tuesday, October 17th and Thursday, October 19th. No appointment is necessary. Please note, recycling will not be collected during the week of October 16th through October 20th. So please prepare accordingly. Materials may be placed at the curbside no sooner than 1 hour before sundown of the day prior to the scheduled pickup. Materials not properly secured or bundled and unacceptable items will not be collected. For a list of acceptable and unacceptable items, please visit www.hpboro.com. Councilwoman Canavera has an excused absence tonight, so as second chair of the Health and Human Services Committee, I have a few updates. The Human Relations Commission has organized a Dia de los Muertos. The Highland Park Human Relations Commission is excited to invite you to a Dia de los Muertos celebration honoring both Hispanic Heritage Month and Indigenous Heritage Month. Join us for this enriching and family-friendly event on Wednesday, October 25th at the Highland Park Community Center, right behind us here at 220 South 6th Avenue. This is a free event, but registration is required. For more information, please email highlandparkhrc@gmail.com. Board of Health, regarding COVID vaccines. Just a reminder that everybody 6 months or older, regardless of immigration or insurance status, is eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine in New Jersey. And the Borough of Highland Park encourages you to get vaccinated as soon as possible. COVID-19 vaccines are safe and highly effective at preventing you from getting sick. COVID-19 vaccines are still covered at no cost for most people living in the U.S. Through their private health insurance, Medicare and Medicaid plans. To find where you can schedule a vaccine, go to vaccines.gov. That's vaccines.gov. Uninsured or your plan doesn't cover the cost of the updated vaccine, you can search on vaccines.gov for healthcare providers, federally supported health centers, and retail pharmacy chains participating in the Bridge Access Program to get a COVID-19 vaccine at no cost. For detailed information on getting vaccinated in New Jersey, please go to covid19.nj.gov/pages/vaccine. I did just want to echo my colleagues on the very moving, very emotional vigil for Israel yesterday. And I did just want to echo the deep thanks for the mayor for her leadership during this entire process. When we spoke throughout the weekend, and I knew that you were in contact with the schools, being in person, understanding that on the weekend, and particularly during the Sabbath, the word can't necessarily get out there. So it was boots on the ground. You went, and that level of comforting, I think, is immeasurable, and we definitely heard that yesterday. So thank you so much for your leadership through this possibly difficult time as we cope as a community. And I did just want to thank also the Highland Park Police Department, Chief Abrams. It was great to see the force out yesterday, and it was great to speak with members of the force and just get a sense of security on, that we are being looked after, we are being protected, and that we know that we will have a swift and immediate response in the event of anything that faces Highland Park. So we just really wanted to appreciate your role in providing comfort and security for Highland Parkers. And I did want to also mention the Department of Public Works. Mike Mazorkowitz was on hand yesterday as well to assist with the flag raising. And this is the type of this is what's required to come together as a community. When not only our public servants and the community, but employees can really step
On
up.
a public holiday.
Yeah, on a holiday without being asked. I mean, that is just not, understood the importance to the community, understood the importance of providing this level of assistance, and it was it's just profound. So we are together. You are not alone, and that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. For administrative report.
Mayor, can I just pipe in one? I
Sure.
forgot. And you reminded me, and I forgot anyway. I just want to let everybody know that also News 12.
I wrote it down. Go ahead.
Our local cable station is doing a profile of Highland Park Friday morning of several businesses in Highland Park. It's a series that they do for many towns in our area, but they will be traveling to many of our local businesses and filming them, and it's an opportunity for the businesses to shine and for Highland Park to shine. Again, thank you, Rebecca, for her hard work on getting that together. But they will be here on Friday. I believe it'll air Friday afternoon and repeatedly throughout the weekend. So that's News 12. Look for Highland Park at News 12 this week.
I just want to add that in other towns, I'm an avid watcher of News 12, and when they do this on a weekly basis for various towns. And when they do it, they always want to see people come out to the businesses. So if you're up at 6 o'clock in the morning, there will be a list at Main Street, Highland Park, of all the businesses that they will be visiting. So please do come out and show your support. Just wanted to add that. Thank you. For administrative report.
The only item, everybody covered all my topics, so thank you. But I did want to, and I apologize if I'm stepping on your report, Mayor, the virtual public information center being held by NJDOT. Some of you may have gotten a letter from NJDOT directly if you happen to live near Route 27 between 8th and the Edison border. As you know, we've been talking for quite a while with them about opportunities to calm traffic in that stretch of road, especially given some of the recent tragedies and fatalities on that roadway. And what we have between, and it was initiated October 2nd, but it runs through October 6th 16, what they have is an information center, which is basically a website where you can go watch a short video that gives you a good background on what they're thinking about in terms of this traffic calming and this road diet, and also an opportunity for our residents to give comments. There's open-ended areas if you scroll through the portal where you can write your comments in, or you can email someone directly at NJDOT with your comments. So I just want to encourage everybody to take 15 minutes out of their day to take a look at the video. It's on a website. And if you don't type in the www, it won't work because I tried it. www.route27highlandpark.com, and that's route spelled out ROUTE 27highlandpark.com. It's a website hosted by the NJDOT to provide information to the public about this proposed improvement. It'll give you information on the timeline. It will take some time to get to full implementation. So, that's, something we're aware of. There's some frustration about that, but at least it'll give you the best information there is and an opportunity to give comment. There will be other opportunities to give comment as the project takes more shape with more specific engineering. This is at a pretty high level concept phase. But again, the Virtual Public Information Center runs through October 16th. So you have time to do it on your schedule when it works for you. And I really hope you do that. If you have any questions about that project or any other comments you want to make sure we're aware of, I encourage you to, if you're willing to share your comments with the DOT, those ones with us we'd welcome that as well, because we are working with that team as much as we can to make this project happen, and we'd like to hear from you as well. But again, www.route27highlandpark.com. Thanks.
Thank you, Terry. And I double echo that. It's only a 10-minute video and you can do it at your leisure. We really need for them to hear your input. Your input will be invaluable because we really want to get our roads very safe here in town. So please do take 10 minutes out of your busy schedule, watch the video, and input all your comments. Thanks. Board Administrator report. Board Attorney report, sorry.
Madam Mayor, no report.
Thank you. Now it's my time for my report, and mine is going to be very brief. I always start off with Stop and Shop, and I'm starting off tonight with Stop and Shop. I don't have an announcement date to make this yet, but I do want to let you know that we're in constant follow-up with them to see how is the progress going. When are they going to give us an opening date, and when can we announce? I'm still waiting for that information. So as soon as I do, I will let each and every one of you know the opening date and who's going to be there. And I think the most important part is who's coming, and then when are they going to open. So I will let you know that as soon as I get that information. Spoke to Highland Park Pizza. They're still in their construction phase. So it's overdue. They had promised September, now we're in October, and they said they're still in their construction phase. Had a conversation with them last week, so I'm hoping that they'll get through that real quickly, and we will look at a very soon opening date. Another thing I want to mention that the chief, our chief Abrams went to Arrive Safely program last week. And it just so happened that today I had someone that called me about an emotionally disturbed person. And I'm just really happy to know that he had went to the program last week. He got some input from his colleagues and how well the program is going. And he shared a little bit with me. Chief, I'm gonna ask you if you wanna come and just share a little bit of what you went over in the program and how we are doing it, especially in Highland Park, Middlesex County, but especially Highland Park, if you have any updates on that.
Sure.
Thank you.
So last week, the AG's office put together a program for 7 counties in the central region that are all participating or about to start participating in Arrive Together. Arrive Together is a program that gives police officers and police departments better access to mental health screeners. We started this in May with Edison, Woodbridge, and New Brunswick. We were the first in the county to start it. And this gives us access to a screener 4 days a week for 8 hours a day. That's paired with a police officer who wears plainclothes and they drive an unmarked car. That officer and screener go to any call in those 4 towns that meets the level of an arrived screener. We do the co-arrive model. Some of the other counties, they just do follow-up. But we're kind of a step ahead by being able to send an officer and a screener at the actual time the person's in crisis to help. It's been very successful. We've been out over, I don't know the exact number, quite a few calls. We've been able to finish these calls without using any kind of force. These people are in crisis. They're hard to be reasoned with. Seeing police officers' uniform can sometimes exacerbate that. Having the ability to be there in plain clothes with a screener who can talk to the person and offer them help right then and there has been very beneficial. I got to meet with chiefs in other towns and other counties, prosecutors in other counties to go over things that they're doing, a lot of information sharing, policy sharing, directive sharing, how do you get around this? We've experienced that, what problems we have, and it made it run smoother. The AG was there to welcome us. He left us in the hands of a Highland Park resident who's one of the head people in this program, which is nice to have that resource. And we all left feeling pretty good about the program and the future of it. Monmouth County's coming on board very soon, and Somerset County. And I've been in touch with chiefs in Somerset, already asking like how we do things, because they like how we do it as a smaller town. Out of the 4 towns that are doing it, Woodbridge, New Brunswick, Edison, they're huge. We're small, we're still getting it done. Luckily, the other towns work with us to make it happen, but some of these other small towns are reaching out to us now, asking us how Highland Park does it, which is a pretty cool feeling. So it's a great program. I'm hoping that it continues to go. The state has funded it for I don't know how long, but it seems like we're going to get more funding for next year and it's going to grow. So that's really.
Thank you so much, Chief. Appreciate it. Well, the governor made a pledge that he wants to see it in every town in the state, so they just need to remember that we were at the forefront, just keep the funding going. Yeah. Okay. I think that Highland Park resident can take pride wherever the borough staff or department demonstrates, whenever the borough staff demonstrates leadership in their field. In that vein, I'm pleased to note that Highland Park Public Library is one of the 29 nationwide libraries selected to participate in the Yiddish Book Center Story of Exile Reading Group for Public Library initiative this year. Stories of Exile is a reading and discussion program to engage teens and adults in thinking about experiences of displacement, migration, and diaspora. In this program, librarians organize groups to discuss the 3 books of Yiddish literature in translation. 1 book relates to the experience of community service by the library. And the adult service librarian, Natalia Levin and Sherry Johnson are the persons overseeing this program. The book discussion will be held on October 23rd at 2023 at 6:30 p.m. at the Highland Park Community Center. November 13th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. at the Highland Park Conservative Temple. January 22nd, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at the Highland Park Community Center. March 11th, 2024, 6:30 p.m. at the Reformed Church, Highland Park. For more information on these events, please go to our Highland Park Public Library website. And that's my report, and I thank you all for listening. Now we're going to move into a time for public discussion. It's time for public discussion. First to public discussion session, total allotted time is 21 minutes, maximum per speaker. Comments are limited to items on the agenda. If you want to speak on an item that's not listed, please do so at the second public comment session later in the meeting. The borough clerk will monitor the time and indicate when 3 minutes have lapsed. She will give you a warning of 30 seconds remaining. I may warn, terminate a participant's statement if the statement does not adhere to the 3 minutes provided, or if the statement is abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. Comments from members of the public attending the meeting will be heard first, followed by those who are participating on Zoom. If you're interested in speaking, please step up to the microphone. If you're on Zoom, please hit the raise hand button or *9 on your phone keypad, and that will indicate that you wish to speak, those who are on Zoom. Please begin by telling us your name and your address.
I do see a hand raised at home, Mayor, if you want me to go
Yes,
to that.
please.
It's a phone number ending in 4445. If you could please state your name and address for the record. You may have to unmute yourself. Is it *6?
Okay, I'm trying again.
Oh, you're
Yes,
in,
we
you're
heard
in.
you.
Okay.
Good, okay, Lois North Second Avenue, thank you. 2 quick questions. I heard comments about the town-wide yard sale, but it's 90% chance of rain both Saturday and I think Sunday. Is there a rain date? Why don't we determine a rain date ahead of time, like the following weekend, and a little check on that list where you sign up, a little column that says yes or no, so that those who can have a porch sale or a garage sale, we can still attend there. And then on your secret session, the location of JSM's litigation that will be discussed, would that be Buckwoods Ravine? Thank you.
We can certainly take the consideration of potential rain dates. There is not a rain date at this point, it's rain or shine, but we can certainly take that under consideration.
Borough Attorney, would you like to comment on the second question? A second question regarding JSM?
The JSM matter is Buckwoods, yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I don't see any other hands raised, and just for the record, we have 6 attendees online at home.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Ordinance requires second reading. Clerk, can you please report on ordinance number 23-2076?
An ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Borough of Highland Park, Chapter 7, Traffic, establishing Schedule XXI mid-block pedestrian crossing was duly advertised for consideration of passage on final reading by title, and affidavits of publication are on file. The ordinance was also posted and made available for public inspection as required by law.
Public, now it's time for public hearing on this ordinance. If you wish to speak, please come up to the microphone, or if you're on Zoom, please raise your hand.
Mayor, I do have a hand raised at home.
Sure.
Amy Denholtz-Lewandowski, if you don't mind stating your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, Mayor and Council. This is Amy Denholtz-Lewandowski. I live at 2 Cleveland Avenue, and I just wanted to voice my support.
Excuse me, Amy, we're having a hard time hearing you. Ed, do you think we could bump up the volume up there? Just 1 second. Oh, she's got kids. All right, try again. Sorry, Amy.
Can you hear me a little bit better now? Hopefully.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mayor and Council. My name is Amy Denholtz-Lewandowski. I live at 2 Cleveland Avenue. I'm right at the crossroad of River Road and Cleveland, and I support the ordinance. I think having more established and better pedestrian crossings along River Road is a great thing. And I just wanted to voice my support. You know, we walk in Johnson Park almost every day, and I see the need for a strong, safe pedestrian crossing at this spot and strengthening all of our pedestrian crossings. Unfortunately, we've witnessed a number of accidents and near accidents since we've lived here, but I just wanted to vocalize how much we support this and enforcement to ensure that our pedestrian crossings are all safe, especially so we have fewer pedestrians and bicyclists going under the train bridge, and having more crossings will give more people an opportunity to walk through that sidewalk between Johnson Park and the rest of Highland Park.
You're quite welcome, was long. We've been working on this for a while.
Thank you again.
No other hands raised, Mayor.
Okay. A motion to adopt or reject 2023-276.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman George,
Yes, again, as Amy noted, this is an important piece in the continuing safe walking and cycling that allows the crossings before the tunnel and accesses the path and the newly constructed bridge in Johnson's Park, and then directly accesses the sidewalk and River Road right up to the bridge. So hopefully, as it gets used more and more, that'll become a regular footpath and move that plan forward. It's very important to get people out from underneath the tunnel. Even coming home today, I saw some problems with the officers there. So I vote overwhelming yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilman Pistonik.
Yes, thank you, Amy.
Clerk, please report on introduction of ordinance 23-2077.
Bond ordinance providing for the replacement of the roof and other related improvements to the public library by and in the Borough of Highland Park in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $400,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $380,000 bonds or notes of the borough to finance part of the cost thereof, has been duly introduced by the Finance Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title, and the supplemental debt statement prepared by the Finance Director was filed in the clerk's office on October 6, 2023.
Motion to approve or adopt ordinance 23-277.
Authorized publication as required by law and set public hearings for October 24th.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman George,
Yes, this is part one of the changes to the library roof reconstruction.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilman Pistonik.
Yes.
Thank you to the Finance Committee for putting that together.
Consent agenda items resolution. May I have a motion to adopt or reject the following consent agenda items? 14A through 14M.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman George,
I think that item 14I should have much more of a bow on it. I wish all success, happiness, and everything to Councilwoman Kim Cho Han. I look forward to hearing the news, and I look forward to your return. And now you will find out how interesting it is to sit on council with a new board. Vote yes.
Councilman Hale,
I vote yes as well, and I just also want to say that there will be a seat right here for the baby. Yes, I'm happy to sort of, flopping to sleep.
Okay.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho Han,
Yes, and I guess I'll abstain.
You can vote for yourself.
Oh,
You
I
can
can.
vote for yourself.
Oh,
We still
okay.
have the middle one here.
Yes.
Councilman Pistonik.
Yes, and Stephanie, we wish you the very best.
Thank you. I'll take all of your advice as parents,
Oh,
right?
yeah. And then some.
And all the residents, feel free to drop by.
We wish you a quick and speedy birth.
Yes.
And a healthy little one. Okay, now it's time for the second public discussion. Time allotted is 21 minutes, 3 minutes maximum per speaker. Borough Clerk will monitor the time and indicate when 3 minutes have elapsed. She will give you a warning of 30 seconds remaining. I may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement, or if the statement does not adhere to the 3 minutes provided, or if the statement is abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. Comments from member of the public attending the meeting in person will be heard first, followed by those on Zoom. To speak on Zoom, please hit the raise hand button or *9 on your phone keypad, or select the raise hand and press *6 to unmute yourself. We'll start with those who are here first. Please begin by telling us your first and last name and your address. Anyone on Zoom?
No one on Zoom, Mayor.
Okay. Council members, do you all agree that we don't need a 5-minute recess?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll bypass the 5-minute recess. We're going to adjourn to a work session. No formal action will be taken. Abandoned and vacant discussion will be on abandoned and vacant properties ordinance attached. Councilmember Hale will be speaking on that. Tree removal, fee revision, Council President Hirsch, appointment, apartment complex outreach, Council President Hirsch. Executive session, and that is going to be 10-23-227 resolution authorized executive session litigation, JSM versus Highland Park. Motion to adopt or reject. It's 10-23-227 resolution authorizing executive session litigation versus JSM versus Highland Park. Roll call.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Councilman George,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho Han,
Abstain.
Councilman Pistonik.
Yes.
Just to clarify, you will abstain from, you will be in the work session, but you will abstain from the JSM part.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, our meeting up here is adjourned. And everyone, please be safe. Please keep
And keep the meeting going.
our brothers and sisters in Israel in your prayers. And please, let's all pray for peace. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Down there.
So now we're gonna move from the dais down to open session. You're more than welcome to stay, those on Zoom and those here. Thanks.
So I'll need a few chairs, so. we'll do that.
Yeah, I know.
Cozy, you can get better chairs eventually, and then one. Wait, were you here? But I can actually.
Oh, okay. They're Jason and Tara.
Jason and Tara.
I can see that.
You weren't here for the 6:30 meeting.
Yeah, that was before.
Yeah, you never.
No, I think we have to be on the side.
Oh, there's a key.
Yeah, we used to come at 6:30. That was a long.
Outstanding.
Okay. Some long nights.
We gonna do JSM first, so you have to wait. till
No.
it comes. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you.
I
She's like,
suspect
she came in, she goes, oh.
I suspect she wouldn't be waiting. for
You
me.
know.
No.
No, we're gonna start off with that first, you know, and then get you out of
Are we
here.
good? Oh, wait, because Tara's.
So you can really start. On your maternity leave. All right. Oh, abandoned and vacant property ordinance. Councilmember Hale.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a brief update. I know we've all been thinking about this and wanting this for quite some time. So the idea of abandoned property ordinance is really an attempt to try and make sure that landlords that are not actively engaged in trying to have tenants in their buildings, that there's a cost for it. And so what we've been trying to do for a very long time is to try and figure out what the balance of that is, to encourage people to go out and get new tenants to push them without making it particularly as punitive as it might be, as punitive as some of us might want it to be. That's not an easy balance. That's there is a back and forth about how much the different costs would be and how much the different structures would be. The basic outline, I think, that is there, is the idea that if you have a property that is identified as abandoned, you would have to be registered as it being abandoned. And then in the first year, there's a fee schedule, and then it increases every year. It increases on a yearly basis. So how it is increased from whether it's starting at 500 and ending at 3,000, or starting at 500 and ending at 1,500. I would honestly say that there's a debate particularly within Main Street, about what is the appropriate level of that. And so that debate is sort of still going on. We're still sort of working out some of those details. I think we're very close to having a consensus. We'll bring it to the Economic Development Committee shortly to hammer out the details. I just know that this is something that has been on our agenda for quite some time, and that hopefully we'll be moving forward with that. But essentially the process is that you have a building that's abandoned, you register it, you get a fine, and if you don't get a tenant for a particular time, then there's a fine of a certain amount in the first year, and it goes up every year after that. Some of the other sort of details that are questions about this are what happens if the bank owns the building instead of a landlord owns the building? Can you attach a lien to a bank? And we think we can. We think that's possible, but whether we should or not, is that going to hurt lending? Is that going to hurt the difficulty? And so we're trying to get some advice about that as well. So it is something that is still on my agenda, certainly something that I think we want to move forward, but we want to make sure that we get it right. And we want to make sure that it's useful, because the idea is to get people to get tenants. It's not the idea to get the borough money, or it's not an idea to be punitive towards landlords. The idea is to give an incentive and a push to get tenants in buildings where there are tenants. So Terry, if there's anything else you wanted to add, please.
No, go ahead.
The one thing that I would just add that I know we were debating, and I'll be curious where Main Street comes out on it, was how much discretion we have administratively to take into consideration factors that maybe an ordinance normally couldn't take in, as to why the place has been vacant, and reasonableness of the effort to address that. And I think where we were leaning was to have some administrative discretion to be able to identify. Obviously, we'll have to be very consistent about how we apply that. And we can't pick and choose which we do, which way and which we do it. But we also recognize there may be reasons that they're beyond the control of a property owner that might account for the vacancy that we need to think about as we move this forward. So that was the only other kind of thing that I know was on kind of the debate. And I think where, at least the last time we discussed it, it was leaning towards some flexibility in its application. But on the flip side, we're not looking for, everybody wriggling out either.
Question. It says registered. So all the vacant properties we have in town is officially registered?
So the process is that they would register. We don't have this ordinance.
We don't have a registry as yet. So once we get.
Well, we well, because we do have a pre-existing ordinance, but we haven't, and I think a lot of our attention has also been applied to the commercial properties downtown a little bit more, and that's clarifying some of that. Ed can speak to some of the technical stuff because he drafted the ordinance, but there is an ordinance now, and so, but it has been focused on residential properties, and it came about in the foreclosure crisis from a number of years ago, as I understand it. It actually predated me. So we do have a registry, and we do have a process.
That's why I asked that question.
But I think we're looking at some changes that have to do with some legal changes that have happened on abandoned properties that we want to be consistent with, as well as looking about, and that's why Main Street's involvement is so important, because looking at the commercial district with specialized, how we might address those vacancies and the abandoned properties in those ordinance. I don't know, Ed, maybe I'll punt to you if there's any other flavor you'd want to add.
No, that was my question, was whether it covers commercial as well as residential.
I think that's why we kind of know the residential that we've been doing, and it's been managing.
Barely any abandoned.
But there
Park
were some
now.
real
I know,
problem
real
properties
problems back then.
when
but
the
now-
ordinance came about that were
Yeah.
really just, and they
Yeah.
were bank owned and they were,
Yeah,
real.
Yeah, we really put
Real
some teeth
neighborhood
into,
drains.
into those, so we don't have those anymore, but what kind of time frame are we looking at to say, looking at getting something in place? Because we have a number of properties that have been allowed to just like sit there and they're really eyesores. And I'm hearing from people constantly about what it is that we're gonna do with those properties, and we need to have something sooner rather than later. Ed, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, we have, we have a draft ordinance. That's what I think Main Street is looking at.
Right,
And
so-
it picks up the
so-
commercial. And
I think, as Terry said, I think it is essential that we have full discussion with Main Street and full discussion with the property and business owners represented by Main Street. So that they're on board with this as 100%. And I'll be upfront and honest that I think there's a bit of a debate within Main Street about which way to go. So we sort of need to sort that out. I would like us to do this before the end of the year, without a doubt. I think that that's a reasonable expectation. I think that we're close. I think the ordinance that Ed has come up with is close. I think it's the fine tuning and tweaking to make sure that we do it right. But I would hope that we can do this by the end of the year.
So they have a copy of what it had the draft already.
We do.
And when is their next board meeting? When they can actually share and look at it.
Well, they
already have it.
They already have it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I had a question. I just wanted to be like really clear on what's covered by this ordinance or proposed ordinance. So is it going to be limited to or I should say, is it going to be broad enough to encompass any property that's just vacant and unoccupied? Or is, because we were using these terms vacant and abandoned sort of interchangeably, but is it more like abandoned in the sense like there has to be certain criteria indicative of abandonment or in disrepair, and it would be limited to those properties? I'm just kind of get a sense of just how.
So the ordinance has both a definition of vacant properties and abandoned properties, and the abandoned properties are essentially the ones that no one is even pretending to take care of, whereas a vacant property is one that no one is intending to get a tenant in. Right, and so there's a distinction, from my understanding, between a vacant and abandoned property, and those are defined in the ordinance.
Sure, and are both going to be subject to the registration requirement and annual fee
Yes.
requirements? And I guess as drafted, does it have similar fees for both types, or?
It's got one, right now, it's got one fee structure.
one
for
fee
both.
Okay.
for both.
One fee structure for both.
And just to be clear, one of the, and I won't pretend to remember all of them, but at least a 6-month vacancy period has to be in place before you'd be eligible for any. And I think there are some other criteria, so I don't want to profess to have those memorized, but that's one of the definitions. And we have a draft now, so we can share it with you too.
Yeah,
I think it would be great to share with the entire council.
I'm happy to share the entire draft. The
Yeah.
reason I haven't shared the entire draft is that I wanted to.
It would be nice to say, this is our recommendation.
This is where we're going, but I'm not quite there yet.
Council, if it's any consolation, the Economic Development Committee
Yeah,
approved, endorsed this. And so, if that
Yeah.
puts our good housekeeping stamp on it,
That's
we're
how-
ready to move.
Right,
yeah.
that's how we move right now.
Yeah.
Like, no, like, I think because I guess we haven't had this work session in like a long time,
Yeah.
in a while,
that's
so
gonna
that's
change
how
starting
it,
next year.
that's how it normally goes. It went to the committee sends it to work session, and then,
Yeah.
whatever.
But from understanding from that is Main Street also still
Yeah.
working on
Main
it.
Street
Yeah.
is
They're still in their work
And
session.
then
Can you characterize the substance of their concerns, or is it, I'm guessing
Do
it's
they have it all
probably,
together yet?
yeah, well, I'm
Um,
guessing there's like, I'm sure there are some actors that
I
have the
you know what?
best intentions and can't fill their
I think
space
it's,
because
I
they
think it's
don't have their
it's
stuff.
a question of, there are good intentions throughout the front.
Yeah.
What, it's really a question of, where's the line that this will become a detriment to people wanting to come to Highland Park? That it will, where is the line where this is gonna cause it to make it more difficult for people to borrow into Highland Park in order to invest in businesses? And so that's, I don't know that there is a specific, if there was a dollar figure that was, this is how you do it, I think we would be settled, but I think there's a bit of a
Balancing act.
between, just between where that line is.
Okay.
Write your story.
Any other questions on that one?
But we went over the appeal process, right? That's what Terry was talking about.
Yeah, and we just, again, need to sort of make sure.
Okay.
So Main Street needs to send you over, then you have more discussions and get back to us.
Just to be clear, I've gotten good comments from Main Street, good things that they've been very much of a partner in this. It's just, I don't feel that we're quite ready with all of their.
To bring it to us yet. Okay.
Okay.
Understand. Well, we don't need to see it until you guys polish it up and think it's presentable for us to delve into. So then we'll have less questions.
All right, fair enough.
All righty. Council President Hirsch, tree removal.
All right, trees. I always, I don't know why every time I open my mouth about trees, I look at Phil. Or anything, because it's.
I knew that was Stuart.
You're right. Your legacy looms large. So
Sorry.
bear with me
Two
because
of
I
my
think it's.
favorite things.
Yeah, you've
And
heard
only
this.
one of them smells.
You're right. You've heard this. You've heard this one before, but this is so the Shade Tree Advisory Commission is one of our more active boards and committees, and they're very tuned in on the way that we handle our tree replacement programs. They're very plugged in on when we do our tree maintenance, how we do our tree maintenance, what gets replaced, what gets preserved. One of the things that's really important to our tree replacement program is our tree replacement fund. And the municipal code now requires payment into the replacement fund when a property owner does not plant the required number of replacement trees. So with inflation and general increase of costs and rapid increase in costs, the stack recommends that the amount presently required by our ordinance, $400 per tree, is too low to keep our fund solvent. When we applied for the stewardship grant, our budget used $650 as the cost per tree. So they're recommending continuing with a two-tier distinction between owner-occupied and investment property already in our ordinance. So we proposed, they're proposing to ask homeowners to pay $600 per tree, which is a little under the $650 target, and ask folks who own the property for investment or business to pay $850 per tree, which is over the $650 target. Obviously, the cost is
$850, you said?
$850. So obviously, when it's an investment or business commercial expense, the cost is it's a business expense. The Public Works Committee met and discussed this, and we felt that this was reasonable. I hope that's an okay characterization, and wanted to just put it to the council to see it's pretty straightforward. Terry and Emma obviously have been working very closely with Stack. So if I'm leaving anything out.
And just the only clarification I would say is these are for trees on private property, not borough trees. So this would be of a certain caliper, and please don't quote me on what that caliper is. Maybe Phil remembers. And if it's a dead tree or a hazardous tree, we don't assess the fee. So there are some exemptions built into our procedures for these. But these would be, and the option is either pay into the fund at these new proposed rates or replace on site. And a lot of people do replace. I mean, that's probably the majority of what people do. But they did their homework, I think, and these numbers are probably consistent with our actual costs and what's out there.
This has been, this $400 rate was when we first put this together, probably back in 2005.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So it's long overdue, the increase, right?
Is there an easy way to distinguish between investment properties and regular properties? Like how do you know if someone's in an investment property versus?
If it's their primary residence,
owner-occupied.
yeah. If it's their owner-occupied, yeah, I think that's.
Owner-occupied property.
Yeah, because you could have a private residence that hires a contractor to come in and add a wing, and they're going to automatically look at taking down 2 or 3 trees. It's still a private residence.
So what happens if I own a 2-story house and I live on the bottom story and upstairs is rental property?
You'll pay the residential.
Yeah. Owner-occupied.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's owner-occupied.
Unless you want to pay the commercial rate, because
I don't own either of them.
Say, choose to pay.
Put more money in our coffers.
We need the money. We got trees to replace.
We should look at the definition just to make sure. It's
Probably.
I thought, yeah, I thought I read that, but yeah, we'll clarify.
Yeah, I think it's in there as owner-occupied.
Okay.
As a definition.
So this is only for people that do not replace.
Right.
right? And so what about, because there's a fee, I remember, like just to apply, right? To have your.
That's like $50 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's only.
To get
like-
this assessed. If it
Because we
meets the
usually have to
rules.
send someone out, take a look.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
it
yeah.
assessed to
No.
see if it needs to be
So,
removed.
what about that fee? Does that go into the fund or is that just for the borough?
It's
Or does that go
I
to
believe
code?
that goes into code enforcement,
Oh, that goes
Yeah.
into code.
I think, but that's a good question. But the $50 is the fifth, that. we're
It's
not-
only-
It's a standard little.
But then there's a fee, because I learned this when I got into my house, well, my neighbor helped me. But there's a fee if you don't, like if you just cut down a tree or something.
Oh,
like that,
yes.
too.
Oh, yes.
That's not
This
this
town?
Yes.
That's
Oh,
this.
that is this
Uh-huh.
fee as well too. Like if they find out you just did it without the, I guess it's like a permit.
Well, without permit. And
Yeah,
if you
without-
take down healthy trees, this is why we put these in, because back in the day, people's just like, oh, let me cut these trees down and
Yeah.
stack them out
Yeah.
in front of their yards. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So this was a way to deter that behavior and to not to take down healthy trees,
Mhm.
to keep
Oh, so
healthy
this is
trees.
the
in.
same, like a violate, this is the
Now,
same
if there's,
fee.
there may be different fines if you violate this. I don't want to speak to that.
There is an
Yeah.
ordinance violation.
So he might be
You
able to
can get an
assess a
ordinance
bigger
violation
fine
for it.
than these fees.
But that's code, that
That's-
isn't there.
That's
Like
code.
staff doesn't have a whole fee schedule that they can just
This
look
is-
at.
This is it.
No,
Oh, this is
the-
it.
The municipal
Oh,
court
okay.
would impose a fine.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you'd get more.
But that would be-
But that would be,
But just maybe.
okay, yeah,
I
that's
did look
good.
into this a while ago, and it's that, this is not like, money's not flowing hard and fast, even with the existing fee structure.
Yeah.
You know, so this is, but it's, I think, a reasonable thing. I think education would be appropriate, because I think people do remove trees knowingly or not. We'll give people the benefit of doubt, not knowing that you need to get it. And I know tree companies aren't particularly good about
Right.
informing their customers that, oh, you know, you need a permit for this, because they don't want to lose the business. So that's something we've been talking about with Stack too, is to let people know, because a lot of people want to do the right thing and don't want to get caught. doing it
And
wrong.
one of the things that, because of the constant storms that we're having, you know, insurance company now are saying, okay, there's a huge tree over your house.
Right.
And although you may love that beautiful oak tree, we are advising you to remove the tree, because in case the tree falls on your house, they don't want to pay the insurance money, so it's cheaper for them to pay for the tree to be removed for safety reasons rather than to pay out. So that's another thing.
And I
Because
think in a
I know by
situation
my
where
house,
it's
there was a
deemed a hazard,
giant oak tree and they
would
came
work
and
with the rest.
they
Yeah,
take it down, they'll do replacements.
It is workable, and Scott knows how to work it. I had 3 in my driveway. 3 of the old cedars were dead. And one of them was raveled up with the Dr. Ali's, he's my next door neighbor, with his power line coming in. So I called Scott and, you know, gave him the caliper of the trees and that they, you know, picture of them, showed they were dead. And he just assessed and said, there's no fee, it's a hazard tree, it has to be
Right.
removed.
Mhm.
And the tree service came in and removed it, actually very reasonably, quite honestly, but, you know, they even said one extra one was dead. So, but that's our work. He assesses what it is and to make the decision on, you know, what rates apply and what's going on.
Yeah, the tree by my house, the insurance, it was huge and it hung over 2 houses. And they were worried about, you know, the tree coming down and.
That's a pretty proactive insurance company, because we usually find that not to be.
They
the
didn't want to,
case.
they didn't want to
Yeah.
pay,
Yeah.
because I told him, I called and I said, you need to remove the branch that's hanging on my house, because that's my neighbor's tree.
Mm.
And that's when they
Oh,
was like,
that's why.
ah.
Put it on your radar that way.
Yeah. So I was like, no, I don't want it to fall on my house, so.
Yeah, I have 2 that are right on the border between my house and Carla's house, and one right on the border.
Well, our
with Dr.
properties aren't
Ali's house.
huge here, like we
But
all
the
share.
trees, our street
Yeah.
trees
Yeah,
are
and
huge.
the trees were put in 100 years ago.
Yeah.
It looked so pathetic
Right.
at the time. you
Yeah,
know?
they did. They look like sticks in the ground.
Yeah.
And they're aging. I mean, especially, I was surprised that we didn't have more fallen trees during.
The last 2 storms. We were very lucky.
Whatever you're supposed to do.
No, I
I
did not.
I'm in it. You can blame Phil. You can blame. Phil.
I'm knocking on plastic, wood, everything.
No, it's so I think this will be a real help, and
So this will
well,
be something we can go to introduce at the next meeting. it
if
sounds
everyone's
like?
okay, we can
Yeah.
send the language.
Yeah.
around.
It's very
Public-
fair,
public
yeah.
ser-
Yeah.
um, Public Works was okay with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great.
All right, cool.
And you again, apartment complex.
Right on. This is a little less specific, but we've been meeting with Sustainable Highland Park. I wanted to have them come in and speak with Terry and Emma to talk about some of the actions that we can actually, you know, that we can organize around to get those points. You know, Sustainable Highland Park exists as a green team of Sustainable Jersey, and the more things that we do, the more actions we meet, the more points we get, the more grant opportunities we can do, as we'll see at the League Municipalities Conference in a couple of weeks. So one of the areas is public information. Tina Weishaus, the chair of Sustainable Highland Park, is very interested in getting out to some of our apartment complexes and just communicating news of the borough, things like community solar that we talked about, things like rent control, and other, you know, other things that meet those sustainable Jersey actions that they can do. So this is really just an effort from Sustainable Highland Park to have a kind of a routine presence, you know, in our apartment complexes. But there was really nothing more specific than
No,
that.
and I thought it was a creative idea coming out because, and I know we've all talked about this in other ways about reaching our apartment complex residents who are 50% of our, not, I don't know, 50% are in complexes, but a good number of our residents live in the complexes. And talking to them about how they reach their tenants. So community solar seemed like a good one because that would benefit their residents with no cost to them at all.
Right.
And while we're talking, you know, find out, do they have a bulletin board? Can
Right.
we put borough things on there? You know, and that's something that Tina happens to be very good at, those kind of probing kind of conversations, and we'll participate with her in those initial conversations. But focusing on the sustainability aspects, but the communications, I think, will benefit from those relationships. If there's, oh, you have an email list that you can use to ping out to all your, well, if we have an emergency, can we, a borough-wide is there some way you could forward that to your residents, or, you know, things like that. And then down to like, hey, if we gave you a bulletin board, would you put it up? If you have a complex of more than 100 units, you know, we'd be interested in, you know, stuff like that. But another example, Matt, was like, one of the complexes allows a little composting from, there's somebody who takes care of it and they allow it. So, hey, did you know that this garden department does that? Would you, if you had someone who would manage it for you, would you be open? So stuff like that, like things that we can do to expand
Like share
sustainable practices to apartment complexes, like community solar is meant to do, like to make available to everybody some of these best practices. So
One of the problems we always have is consistent access into apartment complexes, and we think that this could really open that door.
Also, CERT, when we put the CERT team together, we're supposed to have someone who, the super at the
we
the
have
apartment.
that kind of information.
But how can we, you to tap into what we have there to have more access
I
into
have that
other
list.
apartments? Yes,
the
that's a
starting
great
point.
place. a
Yeah,
good place too.
absolutely. That's a starting point. But what we really want to build this rapport with the management company to see like, hey, and I'm sure some will slam the door, but I think there are good ones out there that will want to offer this to the residents, you know?
Yeah.
So what's on the punch list, like requirement or something for it to get points or?
I think it's going to be an innovative point. Like there's also 3 areas where you can get innovative points. So I think just the outreach program that we are proposing would qualify for points for sure.
Okay.
There's no action, but if there's some legs to like, oh, here's how you would get a composting program going. And we got some, these are all things we could get points for, in fact, be models for sustainable Jersey towns elsewhere about creative ways to do this, because we're not the only community that has a lot of rentals in it. So I think it's a little exploratory. That's why it's mentioned as kind of weird, because it's not like this is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to have some conversations and see where it goes.
But it's also a good opportunity for the council to think of, you know, when we're getting information out there, we can be really intentional about it. So that's
great.
So yeah, more to come. We just wanted to put that on the map.
Alrighty, so now, it's time for us to move into our executive session.
Motion
So
to
we're gonna
adjourn.
be we're gonna motion to adjourn from this work session, and we're gonna move into motion to adjourn from this session.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, roll call. We don't have to do a roll.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Say aye.
Okay, ayes carry. Okay, so now we're gonna move into executive session and we go into
The conference.
the conference room. Good night, Stephanie, and good luck with everything.